Hello, hello. So, this is the energy update for the month of July. I know it's been a little delayed in coming, but let me just share it with you. Let me just tune in and I'll share the energy update for July. Okay, so July is going to be a very interesting month. There is lots happening during the month of July. This week, particularly, that started from the 6th of July, post the full moon in the around the US and Western Europe and parts of Africa. And we had a lunar eclipse and, of course, the full moon. This particular week, there, I though we are on Wednesday already, I do see it is going to be a trigger for many people. There are the energies are very pretty volatile, and I do see that people will be triggered for a variety of reasons. So one would not be able to see very easily or quickly why is it that they're getting triggered, but I see a lot of that happening. I see that happening in India. I see that happening quite a bit in the US as well. And so this week, if I were to talk about what you should be careful of, is be aware of the volatility that is there in the environment. It may not be your own, so you might be tapping into the volatility of the environment and the volatility of energies across across Mother Earth right now. And so take a pause and think about what is it that is really happening. You do not need to jump into defending yourself. You do not need to jump into saying that you are right or somebody's wrong. Be very, very mindful of how your discussions happen, how your conversations happen during this time. And post 15th of July, post mid July, what I also see happening is um, there will be, between the first part of July, there will be unrests, especially in the US. I do see the west coast and the east coast. Those are the places where a lot of the unrest is likely to happen, and around mid of July, what is also going to come about is there would also be a lack of clarity, or people, um, despite, and this is a cross that is happening, despite people who are in the know, or people who might have spiritual practices, or people we might feel are more uh, enlightened or more aware. Irrespective of that, what is going to happen, especially in the US, I see that happening a lot, is because people are getting triggered. There will be a sense of exhaustion around mid July. There will be a emotional exhaustion, and that exhaustion will also bring about uh, a mindset or a viewing of what is going to be, what do I really need to do? Am I really, do I have a role to play in it or not? And the whole of July is actually going to be a big one for relationships. Now, whether those relationships are your friendships, your romantic relationships, your work relationships, your family, July is a month that the volatility will hit a lot in relationships. And usually, of course, when you look at emotions, the volatility does hit on the relationships, right? And so I would really caution you that be very, very careful of what you speak and how you speak. Do not let just take anything on the just don't take something on face value. Take a pause, take a moment to before you make a decision, before you jump to conclusions, because there that will be very easy to come jumping to conclusions, uh, and because those are triggers, right? And the other part that I would suggest is look into deeply is people are unable to understand that the only way without is within. So if they are feeling triggered, if they are feeling that why is this happening, why is this happening to me, why are things not, what is the president doing, what is the prime minister doing, why are they not making sense, why we do not want this kind of rule, we do not want these kind of politicians. But the thing is that whatever is there in the environment is actually a reflection of our inner world, and that is something that people will take time to really accept and listen to. And so July is a time where a lot of that will happen. That so if you are having issues with your relationship, work relationships, family, etc., I would really urge you to look within. What is it that is attracting that trigger, and about that relationship that is also within you? Because if there is a frustration with a particular person in the family, or what a person particularly does again and again, repeating the same cycle, reflect on, are you doing the same, or are you repeating a pattern that you are unaware of? Because the only way that you can move over this is by realization. So July is a big one for realization. In terms of what is happening in India during this time, so there would be a spike in cases, and then they will be settling down for a few days, and then again spike in cases. So it'll be just like the emotions are getting triggered, there will also be volatility in terms of the number of cases. Now it'll be difficult to really predict when is a safe zone, or what is really happening. Are we straightening the line? Are we straightening the curve? It'll be very difficult to predict. So July is a time for wait and watch in many ways, and because there is so much volatility around. Uh, and in terms of the border, what's happening on the border of India, between India and China, what I see happening is that um, again there will be triggers that will keep happening. Towards the end of July, I do see it fizzling out, but China is going to come back in August, and then late October, November. So China is not going to give up. It will keep trying new tricks. It's like somebody who has new tricks to up their sleeve. That's what it is going to keep coming up with. There will be so it will be very unpredictable. Their action and their moves will be very unpredictable. But the way that India will be able to handle it, uh, it'll earn respect from the rest of the world, and it will also somehow there will be support that will come to India because of what China is doing at the borders. Um, in terms of the other thing that I see happening is uh, Sweden and Finland are going to be in the news in July for something, and particularly, and maybe also Denmark, but definitely Sweden and Finland are going to stand out in the news towards end of July, and it's going to be a positive news that they're going to stand out for, and yes, so that's going to happen. The So in terms of, if I were to talk about an overall thing about how July is a lot of spikes, a lot of triggers, uncertainty, and you will not be able to predict what this is a time that you will not be able to predict or plan much, really. And it is not just because of though Mercury retrograde would have ended on 12th of July, I would still say that be very mindful of what is happening in July, and it is also like a dry spell in many ways. Uh, if I were to give you advice of what you can do, I would suggest that meditate as much as you can, because that will help you, that will bring wisdom into your actions, it will bring courage into what should be the right move at this time, what should not be the right move, and it will also help you calm down, it will also help you ease off the high volatility of emotions that are around us. So as my suggestions for July are that meditate as much as possible. Try and do not respond or react to anything immediately. Take a pause, take a few days or a few hours before you say anything, before you take any action, because there will be some underlying fact or underlying layer that you may not be aware of if you are in the heightened negative states of anger and rage, or just wanting to prove a point. The third thing that I would suggest is be watchful and be vigilant. around what is happening within your around you, within your environment. Extremely watchful and vigilant. So July is, in some sense, it is not a very action packed month, but at the same time you will see a lot of, because there are triggers, you will see the US being in the news, you will see a couple of other countries getting in the news. And but we have to, the only way to deal with this is through taking a pause with our wisdom and meditating as much as we can. So that was the energy update for July, and let me know how July turns out for you. If you want to check out our earlier energy updates for May and June to see how it panned out, you can definitely watch them here on our YouTube channel. Both of them are there from May, for May and June. The energy updates are there on our YouTube channel. And remember that we do have a new series, Buddhas in Our Myths, that is starting on 12th of July on Instagram. We will be there on 10th at 7 p.m. for a bit, and then on 12th of July, 3:30 for the actual meeting with our guest. So catch you there, and the rest of the series is going to be on our Facebook page. Check out our page for more details and the dates. Till next time, stay happy and stay blessed.